Biggest surprises in the SEC, biggest letdowns. We'll discuss coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Once again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there tuning in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So, Jay, we're 5 weeks into the 2025 college football season. I know it's flying fast already. We're going to be in December before we know it. Who's been one of the biggest surprises in the SEC for you, either somebody who's exceeded expectations or somebody who's been a letdown so far?
Let's start with the exceeded expectations. I'm going to go with Ole Miss. They lost a lot of solid skill spots. And then, of course, their quarterback gets drafted, late in the first round. And he won a game for the Giants on Sunday as well. So, pretty good for him. But, right, I know. Sorry, Cowboys fans. Y'all, it is what it is. But Trinidad, Chambliss has been fantastic. And I'm surprised. I'm still asking the question, how did he not win in fall camp? Because he plays like he's that dude. But at the same time, it's also Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin is the QB whisperer. I don't care what anybody says. Nobody else out there is whispering quarterbacks like he is, because these dudes are literally not afraid to throw the ball down the field. They like some schools, their biggest problem is just getting the quarterback to feel comfortable with letting it go. These dudes have been launching it since. And this dude came from Ferris State. And we're trying to figure out, okay, how did he fly under the radar? Didn't we get a linebacker from Ferris State like a couple years ago?
Yeah.
We did, Connor Neer. And how did nobody see this Trinidad kid? Like, how did everybody not, how was he so overlooked? Even though I saw a picture of him and Brian Kelly not too long ago when he was a little kid. But yeah, it's just funny that they just keep getting relentless quarterbacks who's not afraid to put the ball in the air. I love it. I'm very impressed.
Well, you remember the offseason joke about all the quarterbacks that Lane Kiffin was bringing in?
Yeah, he had like 3 or 4.
Yeah, he added a bunch of quarterbacks this offseason. And I think some of the Austin Simmons thing is, I think he's a very talented quarterback, but also it comes down to how highly rated they were or how highly pursued they were, whatever promises might have been made. Some of that stuff will impact position battles. I know politics isn't something that fans want to hear about, but it's a reality. Politics plays into some of it. Same with draft status at the NFL level. If you're a first-round draft pick and you're going up against a fifth-round draft pick and all things are equal, the teams are going to go with the first-round draft pick because there's more invested in that player succeeding than the fifth-round draft pick. I digress. Ole Miss has looked really, really good. They're 3-0 in SEC play. They're the only team, or they're one of just 2 teams that have played 3 games in conference, and they've won them all. So, and Trinidad's looked really, really good. I think he's somebody that should shoot up the Heisman leaderboards, if there are leaderboards, at this point in the season, because he's just played really, really well. He's played good ball, and that's going to be somebody that Oklahoma's going to have to contend with here in a few weeks. I think he's been a really good player. For me, it's Texas A&M. I think this is the opportunity for them to rewrite the Texas 8-4 narrative, because they've looked really good so far at this point in the season. I think the defense is better than what we saw, that in that Notre Dame game where it was just this big time shootout and A&M's defense couldn't really stop anybody. They looked a lot better this past week against Auburn, if not for a weird random interception that got returned down inside the A&M 5. Maybe this Aggie defense doesn't allow a touchdown to Auburn at all.
Yeah, I'm honestly kind of surprised that they did. But no, the Aggies they've been exactly what I expected Elko to do with them for a second year. Like the running joke right now is they're a quarterback away from being elite. And I think at some point Marcel Reed's gonna, he's gonna put it all together good enough to be able to get them some deep runs. My biggest question is how they're going to handle the last of this schedule. But yeah, they've been also a very good one. The other one, like Vanderbilt's not a surprise to me. I told y'all at the beginning of the season I thought Vanderbilt was going to be good. And Diego Pavia just keeps proving me right every week over week. They find ways to put up numbers while their defense locks down late in games. Team that shocked me, though, and Texas A&M play them next, Mississippi State. The Fighting Jeff Levy's, the Fighting Cowbells. They're kicking butt, man. And I'm in that game against Tennessee last week. Was so much fun to listen to. They're impressive. You can tell that they really are buying into what Levy's selling them. And they're playing tough, man. They're playing tough ball. I am very impressed with them, and I would love to see them because I think them and Vanderbilt are probably almost past, if not right at their win totals for the season already. I think they are.
Yeah, I want to say Mississippi State's was pretty low. It might have been like 3.5. I can't remember if it was 4. If it got as high as 4.5, I can't remember. But
Let me look. About to pull it up now.
I think they're definitely safe to hit the over, and so is Vandy. The other one that I'm intrigued by is Missouri. I don't know yet. Missouri is a team that has looked really, really good. I'm just not sure just how good they are. Ahmad Hardy's been awesome, but they're going to have some really tough challenges ahead with Alabama, with Texas A&M, with Oklahoma. Are they for real? We'll find out. Who has not met expectation? Who's been a letdown for you, Jay?
It's probably gonna have to be, LSU.
Yeah.
I thought they were just gonna dominate just about all the games this season. They didn't so far. But honestly, South Carolina's a little bit more disappointing. Like, even though I was telling people that I had a lot of questions about who's going to be the named players for them. And granted, when you go listen to the insiders for them, they had ideas, but it was never nothing definitive enough for me to feel like, okay, you don't have Rocket Sanders, who we know is really good. You lost some good players on defense.
A lot of good players.
And you've got to retool it. Now, some of the young talent could be good, but they ain't got a whole bunch of Dylan Stewarts out there. It's going to take some time. It's okay for them to take a year to really blossom. Like next year, they could be a big, big problem. But yeah, I thought that they 3-2 is not where I thought they would start.
Yeah, I just felt like they lost too much on defense. And that was a big part of their team last year. And they were able to get good stops. I mean, you lose a Kyle Kennard, a Tonka Hemingway, the dude, Nick Imanmori out of the secondary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Incredible athlete, really good playmaker. So they just lost a lot. I mean, 5 guys got drafted from South Carolina, which, like, if 5 guys get drafted off of Oklahoma's defense here next year or in the next few years in a single draft, you're like, okay, no big deal. We got a lot of depth. South Carolina, I don't know if they've built up that defensive depth yet, that defensive stockpile to easily replenish every single offseason. For me, LSU is kind of the one. I projected them to be an SEC title contender. I expected them to be playing Georgia in the SEC championship, and they just haven't met expectations. The offense has not looked good. After what I saw out of Garrett Nussmeier in the final 2.5 quarters against Oklahoma last year, I thought, man, this dude's going to be a Heisman front runner. I thought, just like everybody else, the skill position players were going to be good enough. Caden Durham's awesome that this offense would cook, and it just hasn't. And I guess what we saw from their offensive line last year that was just kind of even though they had some really talented players at tackle, it has not looked good, and they just cannot do enough to get that offense going up front.
Is it because he was on the juice when he played against us in the second half of the game? Because
I bet some corticosteroids were injected into said shoulder to make sure that he could feel pretty good about it. But
I agree. Yeah, that's probably what it is. But also one other team that we probably should have had number one on our list, but we both are at this point like this is kind of what we would have thought. Florida, like gosh, Lagway is not. I mean, when we saw Lagway SEC Media Days, we're like, dang, that's a ginormous human being. He is a first-round all-aesthetics, all-American, period. Like, you see him, you're like, oh, no, that's what a quarterback looks like.
Yeah.
That's what an NFL quarterback should look like. And his play has not been there.
Nope.
They've been brutal. Those 3 losses, the South Florida loss made me say, And now they have a chance to start the season 1-4. The question is Billy Napier survive? We just saw Pittman couldn't, but can Napier survive this Texas game?
I think the mismanagement of DJ Lagway's injury situation is going to be something that's studied because he hasn't been healthy all offseason. I don't care what anybody said, and it's not provided him an opportunity to develop. He's not healthy right now. I mean, yes, our guy Brennan Olson has been saying that he's been in a walking boot. That's been a thing regularly. But if he's having to stay in a walking boot, don't play the guy. I get you don't have many other options, but you're not helping his development by running him out there not prepared and not healthy. So, yeah, Florida has been a disappointment for sure. And I mean, we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of football still to be played, and a lot of things can change, but the defense is really good for Florida. We'll see.
I like it.
We'll see if they can turn it around offensively, but they got a big test this coming week against Texas, and that might be the end of it. I mean, if Billy Napier can rise to the occasion and get a big win over the Longhorns, might be enough to save his job. We'll see, at least for another week.
Yeah, we'll see on that one because that Florida defense, got to give them props. Your quarterback throws 5 interceptions and you only give up 1 offensive touchdown.
Yeah,
you're pretty stout. Or is that LSU's offense just can't figure nothing out either? A lot of questions in that part.
A lot of questions still to be answered. And one team we really didn't throw enough love to in this segment, and we should before we get out of here, is Alabama. I wasn't sure what Alabama was going to be coming into this season. A lot of people were hyping up Ty Simpson. I needed to see it first to believe it. And I'm a believer. The dude looks really good. He looks really sharp. He looks really accurate. He looks really confident and poised in the pocket. Every third down against Georgia, I felt like was going to be converted because Ty Simpson just looked so good throwing the ball on third down the field. So Alabama's going to be a problem the rest of the year.
We'll find out against Vanderbilt this coming weekend because I'm going to be honest, Bama be doing that to Georgia. That's what Kalen DeBoer does to certain coaches.
I get it. Yep.
He has ownership stake
Yep.
with Smart, Sark, as well as Lanning. So I don't know. I don't know if I can believe it yet. I'll believe it when I see it once more.
Yeah. They get Vandy at home this year in Tuscaloosa. So
Buddy.
hopefully Vandy's not pulling the upset on their home field. That would, I think, have a Nick Saban coming into the locker room or on the sideline a la Jerry Jones. But that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube, so hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports. Go check out his channel, Unfair Sports, on YouTube for more college football and Oklahoma Sooners coverage. You can follow me at John9Williams and read my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com. The show is at Locked On Sooners on all your favorite social media profiles: Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, Pinterest, wherever you like to consume Oklahoma Sooners content. But until next time, he's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. We'll talk to you then. Boomer
Sooner.